The storm hit quicker than expected. Heavy sheets of rain slashing through the air and thunder cracking loud enough to shake the ground under Evan's feet. He had been hiking all day, eager for the fresh air and solitude of the mountains, but now he cursed himself for pushing further than he should have. His map was damp and useless, his phone had no signal, and the fading twilight cast long shadows across the dense trees. Somewhere down the hill, nestled in obscurity, he spotted what looked like a cabin. A single glow flickering from a window was the only sign of life. Relief flooded his chest. Shelter. He could wait out the storm there. Making his way down the muddy slope, his boots slid under him more than once, nearly toppling him into the thick underbrush. As he neared the cabin, a strange unease prickled his skin. The structure was small and weathered, its wooden beams rotting in places, but the light streaming from its lone window gave it an oddly warm appearance. The closer he came, the quieter everything around him seemed. The storm still raged above, but there was no rustling of leaves, no chirping of insects. It was as though the forest was holding its breath. Evan knocked on the door. "Hello?" he called, his voice muffled by the rain. "Excuse me, I'm lost. I just need a place to wait until the storm passes." No answer. He hesitated. The door was slightly ajar, swinging just enough to show the faint flicker of the light inside. Taking a deep breath, he pushed it open. The cabin smelled old, like damp wood and forgotten memories. A single oil lamp sat on the wooden table in the corner, its flame flickering weakly. There was no sign of anyone living there. No food on the counters, no personal belongings, just a single chair overturned near the fireplace, and a faded rug beneath the table, darkened with stains Evan didn't want to think too hard about. "Hello," he called again, louder this time. "Anyone here?" The wind howled behind him, slamming the door shut. He turned quickly, his heart hammering. It was just the storm, he told himself. Nothing else. He glanced back at the table, his attention drawn to something sitting just beside the oil lamp. A photograph. He stepped closer, raindrops from his jacket dripping onto the floor as he picked it up. The picture was black and white, faded with age, but it showed a family, parents and a young boy. Their faces were expressionless, almost too serious, and the boy's eyes seemed wrong, too large, too dark for a child his age. Evan felt a shiver crawl up the back of his neck, but he set the photograph down carefully as if afraid to damage it. The storm crashed louder outside, thunder vibrating through the cabin. Evan ran his hands over his soaked clothes and decided he'd stay just long enough for the worst of it to pass. The thought of hiking back through the woods at night in this weather wasn't appealing, and this cabin, strange as it was dry. But the unease grew stronger as the minutes ticked by. The lamp flickered again, and shadows seemed to dance unnaturally across the walls, twisting and stretching in ways that made no sense given the angle of the light. Evan told himself it was just his imagination, heightened by exhaustion and nerves, but then he felt it. A subtle draft brushing against the back of his neck, cold and deliberate as though someone was breathing behind him. He spun around, but the cabin was as empty as before. "Calm down," he muttered under his breath. "You're just tired." His stomach churned as he tried to rationalize the weight pressing against his chest. Maybe the draft was coming from a crack in the wall, or maybe the shadows seemed strange because of how tired and disoriented he felt. He told himself not to look at the photograph again, but found his feet carrying him back to it anyway. The boy in the picture seemed closer. Evan blinked. That didn't make sense. It was a photograph, a static image, and yet he could swear that the boy's face, which had been turned toward whoever was holding the camera, was now angled forward, staring directly at him. He slammed the picture down, his breathing uneven. This wasn't normal. None of this was normal. A sudden sound broke the oppressive silence, making him jump. It wasn't thunder, but something softer, wood creaking under weight, as though someone was walking across the floorboards. He whipped his flashlight out.